Darud Bar Shoma, everybody. I am back. It's been a while. Before I get into it, I have been making real coffee, not just AeroPress, or not just Nespresso coffee. Look at me. I got my Chemex. Pour it for you now. You can see the real lovely coffee that I just brewed. Probably still a little bit too hot to drink, so we'll just let it sit for a second. But it sure does look pretty in the Chemex, doesn't it? Okay, so today I am back and I'm doing MOSAHEBE 2 by JARSHAA, which is another collaboration. I believe he was kind of behind Canada Vegi, which I hope I pronounced that close to right, which is a song that I didn't want to do, and then I did it and I really liked it. So this is another collaboration piece. Before I get into it, as always, a couple things. One is I'm not an expert and I don't speak Farsi, so I'll do my best to, enjoy it. But as far as making anything out of it, I don't know if I can really bring you a lot of information. I would love it if I could get some translations in the comments, maybe of anything that's relevant or important in the song. You're not required to do that, obviously, but I would like to know what the song is about, what they're talking about. And don't be a dick, right? That's always a rule here. So with that out of the way, I got my coffee, and let's get right into it. This is MOSAHEBE 2 by JARSHAA. I want to make sure I don't blow out anybody's ears, so we're going to play with the audio a little bit. It should be okay. Pretty good coffee.
به نام خدا من جرشا هستم با یه پخش زنده یه برنامه که مغزتون نکرده لحظه فکرش میدونم جالب تیترش برا چون این قسمت اومدیم سراغ پیش قسمتا کسایی که شروع کردن این بازی و ولی الان چند سالی میشه که سکوت کردن واسم عجیبه سوالش کلی خاطره داشتم با اسم و کارتون یه حس نوستالژیک چون از اونایی که تو این مسیر پل ساختین بیشتر از این نگیرم وقتتون بریم سراغ مهمون اول و بحثمون خب ساتراپ زود برام بگو عجب واکمه توی اون زمان خب
میدونی تو خیابونا بودیم صبح تا شب زمین خاکی و میتینگ همه مثل رویا رفت استودیو رامونه میدادن کرگدن میخندید و جایی نمیذاشن واسه دنیا تن کلان دنبال امنیت قفل رو همه زور اسکان و اسفاک شاد گستره مثل فیلم جلوی چشم میگذره بیشتر قصه رو نگفتم آخه نیست وقتش
خودم نبودم ولی کلی تعریف از اون زمان شنیدم که با سختی رپ میکردن و توی کرگدن جنگیدن نظرت چیه ساما نهریمن
اون روزو خوب یادمه واسه رپ کردن خودم رو رسوندم با اتوبوس و کرگدن از 13 بودم رو بیت بکتنم جامعه نمیدونست میکردم مسخرم این مسیر تنگ رو نداشت شهر جا و شبی بود دریا نداشت چند سال برای زحمت تو فردا نداشتم و الان فردا براشو خواستم نهریمن رو قاب کنم اما جرشا نذاشت
این مسیری که رفتی واقعا ریسکه بذار ادامه رو بپرسی من بابک تیغه یه سوال دارم جالبه برا من چطور ادامه دادی بدون درآمد ها
تنها رفیقم شده بود یه خودکار آبی شب بیدار با هم تا صبح پای کاریم مهم نبود بحران مالی این که شام داشته باشیم بشقاب خالی جوهرش رو ورق عشق بود شرچیه دیگه اینو بغضام خالی میشه رو کاغذ تا یادم نره چی کار کرد با ما جبد جغرافیایی
شاید واسه خیلیا باشه درکش سخت ولی مهمه داشتی عزم جذب میکارم عشق میخواستم لیاقت خب نظر تو چیه قیامت
جنگنده زیاد داره رپ فارس این شین و قافش با من سر پاس اینم یه اتحاد مثل سال 85 آهنگم تاریخچه رپ فارس انقدر قوی که یه تانک وایسونیم یا یه محسن قوی مثل مایک تایسونی توی سه بیت کار قیامت جمع شد مثل کار قبلیمون با هم توی جرشو
آره جرشو یادش بخیر حقیقتا همونجا به سرم زد شاید این موزیکو بسازم جالب بشه از اتاق فرمان میگن ارتباطمون داره وصل میشه واسه صحبت با سنگ یا چنگیز سابق خب چنگیز فارغ از رپ من کلن چند جا شنیدم هستی تو هنر خلاق سوالم اینه که بدونم کلن این رپ بوده کجای زندگی هنری
رپ خشت اولی بود که گذاشتم تو دنیای هنر با تیمور اومدیم راه دور ادامه دادم خودم تحصیل و کار کردم و همزمان با قافیه ها همزبان بودم تغییر کردم آواز خوندم نه از گذشت ثانیه ها از ارزش لحظه ها
مرسی از چنگیز خالی بود جای تیمور بریم ادامه سوالا واسه مهمون بعدیمون که همیشه جاش بود خالی یعنی افشین یار تو واسه منی که میشناختمت بچه بودم همیشه این سوال بود که سال چند شروع کرد ها
سال 80 دادم بعد با از شرق تایی فرجام پشتش لفت دادم مرد به نعد پای قربت توی برجام آره دیدم فرداش گفتم یار توی رفا زده درجا ولی سایلنت بودم بالا بگو صدا میاد داشتم سعی جرشا بزن همه کلماتم آرشیو باشم تا یه انبار نگاه بازم میخوام پاشم بریم سر درد حالا همه برجا
مرسی از افشین یه سوالی جدی ذهن منو درگیر کرد آخه خیلی حیفه کجا بودی این چند سال از گروه تتیری گاز بگه مهدی طیب
تتری گاز چطور حیف میفاز یه مدت حبس بودم راستش تقدیرم رب بود من خواستش تعطیل کردم گروه رو یه گروه جدید شروع کنید دارم گردن نرپقا میتونی باورش کنی
تو گفتی حبس یادم یه تهدید کلم وجود داشت باریز که دستگیر شدن
تهران پارس منو گرفتم باز دوباره میزده نفای 100 تای غاز گفتم دل نبودم تو موسیقی حتی برعکس خیلی یارو آوردم و شدم پرشم به دست سال 77 رپ تو دلم نشست آره درست زدی منم عبد دستمون که 15 سال توی سکوت نشست قانون رپو شکست دارم آلبوم میدم گوش کن نداره نقص
مرسی از زبد همیشه بوده خالی جات جونه داشت بریم سراغ داریا و سورنا و صرفا توضیح بدین که چی شد شروع کردین و الانم دل سرد شدین
شروع کردیم رفاقتی دور هم اصلا مهمم و شهرت و قسمت کنم پشتم و رفیقام خالی کردن آره همین چیزا بود که من دل سرد شدم
وقتی میزنی تو دیگه حرف توی کتشون نمیره چون که بوده حقیقت تلخ از زمان فاکرام خلاقیم هنوزم که هنوزه توی مازی حرف داریم
مهمون بعدی هم از هم شریم طبق تجربیات خودم رسمنیم مسیر شهر کوچیک سخت‌تر میشه از 011 اشکام کول
از 80 شدیم ما با هم ستای تیمش که باور نمیکرد که بهش برسیم بشیم بهترینا از یه شهر کوچیک بدیم 10 تا موزیک و هر 10 تا شهید کار دادیم با یه لپتاپ و میک کل ایران ولی داشتی باش ترکید نیما ایده میداد ما سلطان بیت منم آتیشش کنم میشیم بازی
از اشکان که زدی حرف حق بریم سراغ رضا موتی از تن به 10 تو این مارکت پولی بدیدم قدیما خیلی کارا بوده دلی تر نه
قدیما رپ نبود کاسبی با فالوورا تبلیغ بد نبود و کرم آلوورا ما شروع کردیم از زیر زمین میله ها رو پله کردیم از زیر نشیم پی قافیه ریختیم واسه نسلای بعد که ردیف بشن رها بشن از لای بند الان شاید گذشته اما پسر ولی ادامه میدم بریزه هر جا میرم
مرسی از رضا همیشه بودین از قدیم کولو بریم سراغ اولین گروه که توی رپ با کار بود اینا هوشنگ از گروه واشخونیا
نمیفلکم مگه با آدم و کسش معرفت باستی باشه پیش و پسش سرتو بگی بالا راست برو راست بیا اما هوشنگ عشق داره بره داشا باور نداری بپوز از جرشا خیابونو درا کن تا برسی به ما صدا میکنن خونیو گر مرگ رفیق شفیق بنیاد گر سخت داداش راستین مرد میدان استاد کار کشته شایا
داره تشکر کنم حامیمون از اولین اسپانسرای رپ فارسی بود مرسی از آرتور کلاب با گرن زیرو با ساب ووفراش هوا رفا رو داشت از گوش کنار و خالی بود جای شایان دیو جای فارز یا امزیپر یا خیلیا که با عشق شروع کردم ولی الان شدن غایب نبودتون واقعا حیف بود مرسی تا اینجا همراهیمون کردین تا دیدار بعد بدرود
I think that's really sick. The beat is really good. And it's really important to me. I really do care about beat. Because it has so much of an effect onto how the rapping actually sounds based on how the music sounds. And I'm growing very partial to Farsi production, right? Because I really like the way you incorporate traditional music, traditional tonal scales, things like that, right? In the West, we have different musical, basically, scales and like formulas than you do in the East. And so I really enjoy hearing the minors, hearing the various different key changes and stuff that you don't hear so much in sort of traditional American and or Western music. Like I said, I'd really love to know what this is about. I looked at the comments. I translated some of the comments before I watched it. There seem to be people talking about how these guys are older rappers, like previous generation rappers, who are talking about how they're being left out, or how difficult it is to, I don't know, gain exposure or gain attention. Right? I don't know. I don't totally understand what the comments are referring to. I don't know what the rappers themselves are talking about. But based on my limited knowledge of Iranian hip hop culture, these guys definitely do seem older to me, partly because they are, but also because the tattoos are not as heavy, right? I only saw really one guy with a prominent tattoo on his neck, and I know that tattoo culture in Iran is very, very, haram, right? I don't know if it's religiously haram or culturally or both, but I know that the younger wave of artists are getting more into tattoo culture and sort of rebelling a little bit against those sorts of standards. These guys may be covered, inside the sleeves and under the shirt, but I don't know. I haven't checked. But I really like it. I think that Farsi lends itself so well to hip hop, both because of the history of poetry in the Middle East, Levant, Iran, Persia, right? Whatever you want to, whatever part of that culture you want to refer to, that part of the world. Some of the oldest poets, some of the oldest travelers, right? World travelers come from that part of the world. So that's really interesting, right? You have thousands of years of sort of poetic tradition that you can draw on to reference stuff in your rap, which I miss entirely because I don't speak Farsi, but it's very attractive to the ears. And the poetic nature of Farsi and Farsi culture lines up very nicely with hip hop, I think. So yeah, I really like this one. I thought this was great. And I will take a moment or two to speak on things. Obviously, as is easy to tell, I'm American. I'm from America. I grew up here. It's a very hard time to be proud of my country. It's always been a hard time to be proud of America if you know what's going on and what has gone on. But in the last 5 months, everybody knows what's happening in Palestine. Everybody who is paying attention understands that there is a genocide going on. Indisputable. There's no argument. There is no distraction. There is nothing you can do to say that it's justified. What happened on October 7th, I will not excuse or dismiss. It was an atrocity. What has been happening to the Palestinian people since the Nakba, since the 1940s, even before that, frankly, but since the 40s, is also an atrocity. And I come from a country where we glorify our violent rebellion to gain our independence, right? America, in the early years, was a colony or a series of colonies of England. And we took up arms in the 1700s against the colonizers who were, no longer quite as closely connected to us after 100 or so years. We took up arms and we killed them, and we told them to go back to England. And we fought a bloody war for our independence, to be our own nation, independent of England, of our, colonizing ruler. And it's hard for me, as an enjoyer of history, to look at what Palestine, to look at what Hamas did. And again, I am not here to be an apologist for Hamas. I think that what they did was, in many ways, inexcusable. Understandable. The difference is it's understandable. Because they are being occupied by a military force who shoots with impunity, kills Palestinian children and women, kills American citizens, journalists, with impunity. And what is the proper reaction to take to that? I cannot speak. But I will say, I am not a pacifist. And I don't believe most large-scale societal change in history has been accomplished without some violence and some bloodshed. I would like that to be as minimal as possible. But I am a realist. And if you look at history, that's how it has been. And now that conflict is spreading, and my country is both being attacked and attacking other parts of the world: Iran, Iraq, Lebanon, Syria, Yemen. It goes on. And I don't know what to do. I try to keep people that I know up to date. I try to be a source of useful information for people. I try to be aware of what's going on so that if somebody brings up something that is false, I can counter it. But I'm just one guy. I'm just one guy living in the middle of nowhere. Like, if you are watching from Iran, you would not even know where the state I live in is on the map, right? Similar to how an American would maybe be able to pick out Tehran, but like a city in the north, no. So it's very frustrating, and it is very disturbing to me, the bloodlust that I see. And listen, I'm sure there is some bloodlust in Iran and Yemen and Syria against us, and I don't necessarily disagree with it. I don't like to see it on any side, but it's easy to say that when you are the side with the power, right? It's easy to tell people to do things the right way when you are already in power and you know that people doing things the right way won't affect your power. I don't know. I feel more closely connected to people who are struggling and to people who are being oppressed, regardless of nationality or religion or ethnic background. I feel more close to those people than I do to my own countrymen in many cases. And plenty of my own countrymen are oppressed, but there's a difference. There are levels to, I've seen videos of some of the effects that the sanctions the U.S. put on Iran have had, like kids learning how to skateboard on metal skateboards because they can't get the right materials imported to make actual skateboards. This is a very little thing, right? It's just skateboarding, it's just a hobby, it's just a fun thing to do. But it is a symbol of the harsh, oppressive restrictions and sanctions my country has put onto another country in order to try and encourage rebellion among those who are most impacted, the poor and the insecure. The worse life gets for them, the more unrest develops, and maybe you see political regime change. And I know that many of those of you who would watch my video who are in Iran or are Iranian would love to see regime change for other reasons than just the removal of sanctions. And I hope that that is achievable in your lifetime, in my lifetime. Hopefully soon in our lifetimes and not when we're aged and gray. Because Iran was liberal once. Iran had freedom once, not that long ago. And people want to live that way again, and I hope they're able to. I don't know. I felt like I wanted to say something, and this may not be very useful, but I thought I would say what I could, put my thoughts out there, and maybe somebody will be motivated by them. That'll do it though. This isn't going to be a regular. I'll be back in and out, but have a great day, everybody. Be safe and be kind to each other.